There are many types of entities that both of you share an incarnation in with. There are ones that are perceived as human by nature, ones that are perceived as hybrid, human by nature. Also, there are ones that are perceived by reptilian in nature, also avian. Which of these do you prefer?
I guess I'm interested in reptilian.
Yes, there are 3 specific reptilian races that both of you share incarnations with that are future in nature, and one that is considered reptilian, hybrid, human.
Oh,
you still perceive the 3 reptilian, correct?
Yeah.
Let us start with the very first race. There are incarnations of both of you within one reptilian race that you are already aware of. This is called Theta Tauri. These entities are ones that are still connected to both of you very deeply, also connected to Jeremy most deeply out of all involved. The entities that are Theta Tauri in nature are very deeply connected to Jeremy through this incarnation, as he has kept his own energy tied with him, using it as a manifestation of experience that is very highly expansive for him in this energy. Now, in your incarnation in this race, this is what your perception is of parallel existences as these entities are in the now time, as well as they extend into the future for several thousand years. Your perception is that it would be a parallel existence, one of your incarnations that is truly happening in your version of now. In this incarnation, you are both connected to this race. You are both connected to staying within your own planetary confines, communicating with certain other reptilian entities that are outside of your planet in a telepathic way, but using your own energy to manifest a reality that is closing yourself off to the rest of the galaxy. There are many reptilian races, those who are perceived as malevolent in nature, that try to connect to the Theta Tauri, to use the energy of their collective consciousness to fulfill the needs and desires of themselves. There are entities that are perceived as more neutral, type 2 entities, who are also trying to communicate with the Theta Tauri, and they are always blocking the energy outward. There are 3 planets in which the Theta Tauri inhabit. There are 2 planets around the largest star in the Theta Tauri system. There is 1 planet within the smallest star. All 3 of these are fully, completely integrated with the Theta Tauri. The main planet is one that is within the largest star. This is the one where both of you inhabit.
That's perfect, thank you. I remember the session about Theta Tauri. They're the white reptilians, right?
Yes, this is correct.
Okay, awesome. Let's see.
Secondary reptilian race. Do you wish to hear these?
Yes, please.
There is one race, one that humans are not fully aware of, although they have connected to humans in several different ways, dream states, astral projected states, and even on 3 occasions physically. They are still not spoken of widely. They are a race that is in the constellation that you would call Libra. And in this constellation, the 7th brightest star, far away from your planet by at least 184 light years, the incarnation of this reptilian race exists upon the 4th planet. The name of these entities are not speakable by the human tongue. They are not pronounceable by the names. You are using many syllables that sound as your S, K, Q, and X. It is an extremely long name. This race would call themselves. Now, when you are looking at the build, the connection of these reptilian entities, they are a type 2 mid-range benevolent. They do not care to hurt others, but they will fight wars if their freedom is infringed upon. There are many other entities that are connecting to these races. Trevor Yitney's race has had connections with him. They have also been in contact with the Theta Tauri. There has also been attacks on their race from the entities that you perceive as the ancient reptilians. So all of the entities that you are connecting to, that are reptilian in nature, that have connections to the Earth experience in one format or another, are connecting to these entities. This is why their energy is still very important to the Earth Collective, as well as opening bridges to further communication. In your dream states, you have perceived entities who have a shimmering coat that tends to change colors within the angle of light or the tone of light that they are within to your Earth star, the sun. If they were to stand upon the surface of your planet on a sunny day, they would appear to be changing between the color of purple, the color of green, the color of orange, depending on what angle in the star that they are. In other systems, they are changing multiple colors due to the ratio of light, what is the name of this concept? The wavelength of light.
Color spectrum?
And also the spectrum of light. Yes, thank you, Kalina. You are correct. In these ideas, when an entity is perceived, then they are never described similarly twice by any one group of entities. When they are perceived amongst the Pleiadian collective groups, they are seen as multiple in definition, color, and explanation of what their appearance is. This is because of this skin that is playing many colors in one spectrum, moving to another spectrum, again giving different definitions. These entities are approximately 4'1" in height. They are approximately as wide as a human shoulder, of the physical build of the larger athletic type. They are very short, very stocky, with long tails. They are using the longer mouth, or snouts as you would call them. They are highly capable of being aggressive if they desire. They have moved away from this energy and only use it when it fits them the greatest. In this way, it is showing a very similar spectrum to the human energy. Although the human energy is moving away from this also, these entities have moved further away than humans have at this point, but are still capable of reverting back to that energy. It is a very small population. They are less than 100 million within their entire planet, while their planet is approximately 4.5 times the size of yours. So it is very lightly or non-densely populated. It is a very wet and watery planet with much vegetation, similar to your swamps in nature, similar to your high range of animals in your rainforest regions of your planet. It is very similar to an environment as this. Their animals are mostly reptilian or amphibian styles, as your perception of animals would be, amongst their planets, although they do have entities that are flying. Most of these entities are what you would perceive as a mixture of bird structures within amphibious or reptilian animals.
Wow, awesome. Thank you.
Yes, let us express, before we disconnect from these entities, what your roles in this are. Your roles in your incarnation are very specific in this incarnation story. They have a system that is based upon a hierarchy system. There is one group that is responsible for the protection of their own planet, their own system, their own spacecrafts. There are one group that is responsible for the sustenance regions. Although they are not eating all physical food, they are transmitting consciousness into food in smaller amounts. They are still dependent on some physical sustenance. This second tier group is one that creates and brings in sustenance for the entirety of its planet. The third layer is one that is more responsible for communication with outside degrees. There are several dozen layers. These are the ones that we will talk about. Your specific roles in your race are defenders, the ones who are inheriting the responsibility of defending the planet within military prowesses as well as within physical strength and mental intellect being raised to a degree that is much higher than all of the predecessors that you have. Within your own planetary alignment, both of you are very well connected to one another. You are both independently in charge for the quadrant of your planet's protection systems. Although there are more divisions than quadrants, quadrants is the easiest way to describe. As most systems are divided, it is very highly sensible to divide your area and place one in charge of one area, another in another, and then place one entity in charge of smaller areas. This is both of your jobs, to manage all of the entities who are taking care of the smaller portions of the planet, and you are overseeing them as they connect to others. You both, as well as two other entities, are essentially charged of the majority of the inhabited planet. You are responsible for the ones under you as they are responsible for the ones under them, and this is your lot in that existence.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Very interesting.
Yes.
Alright, let's see. I have a question now that we're talking about reptilians. I had an encounter in my dream time recently with the race that this is the first time I actually remember seeing a reptilian in dreams. And I was wondering which race was that. They seemed type 2. They looked very, very tall. They had skin the texture of a rhino, perhaps, but like more beige color. And they had bone structures around their heads like dinosaurs. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the dinosaur, but it's a triceratops or something like that. And I had an encounter with them, and I only remember a few sentences introducing to each other, but I don't remember the rest.
Yes, we understand what this is. We are able to receive your energy, to perceive what you are saying, and yes, these entities are what you believe them to be. The entity or the group of entities are not what you believe it is, but the one specific entity that you are drawing and connecting your information and energy from is the one that was connected to your existence previously and then removed itself because it could not connect to the vibration that you were when you are loving. So yes, your assumption is correct in this. This entity is one that is akin to your triceratops dinosaur entity. We understand the physical appearance as you have described this very well. These entities are one that are within one specific quadrant on the other side of the galaxy that is not known to your own astronomers. It is sitting behind great amounts of dense clouds and dense energy. In this quadrant there are many reptilian races that are not standard. In fact, there is a 300 light year akin to a circle, approximately a sphere, that encompasses hundreds of stars that are related to, connected to, and manifesting the physical properties of entities that you perceive as reptilian. These are one in this group. They are connected to many different reptilian races, therefore there are many reptilian wars that happen within these. In fact, they are often called by other races throughout the galaxy the civil war of reptilians in that portion of space. This area is where most of the reptilian races are fighting most fiercely for power, not only against one another, but to own the rights to have control over all entities perceived smaller or weaker than them by the Type 2 malevolent. These entities are not as malevolent as they appear to be. They are very tough in the exterior, verbalizing concepts that are very harsh in nature, communicating with a very anticipating energy for others to attack them or to be at war with them. And this is why they must appear as intimidating entities to protect themselves from further having other entities engage with them. on a warring level, on a energy overcoming level, or on several other levels that reptilians often do to one another when they are the type 2 mid-range malevolent scale. We are not saying all of the entities in this area are type 2 malevolent, nor are we saying they are all type 2, but the majority of them, as per capita of the entirety of the galaxy, is approximately 82% of type 2 entities that range from the mid-level of malevolency to the high levels of malevolency. There is no difference in this portion of the galaxy. In fact, it is slightly higher than the galactic average in this 300 light-year spherical area.
Oh, that seemed to be a very exciting area. No wonder I connected to it.
Yes, your interest in the reptilian entities is very well founded within your energy. Therefore, it is always extending invitations to those who are willing to play with you.
Now, I've had this encounter more than a year ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it was a very, very intense experience. I was seeing two entities that looked like humans at first, but when I saw them better, they looked very short, blue, bold, with eyes that looked like cartoonish or cat eyes, or very, very big, adorable eyes. And one of them seemed like a ruler, or like a very important person of that race, and another one was like his escort. And the way they communicated with me was sort of a mind meld. One of them put his forehead on mine. I had to kneel down because they were short. And there was a transfer of thoughts, but during that transfer I couldn't breathe. And I knew that I have to stay there and not breathe so I can pass the test. And it was very, very awesome. And after that, they granted access to their dimension or whatever it was. So was that a particular ET race, or what was that, if you can tell me?
These entities specifically are ones that are connected with you throughout your oversoul. There are literally tens of thousands of these entities that are connected simultaneously with humans. There are several hundred that are within your oversoul. These entities do not have a name to the human knowledge. You had assumed at one point that these entities were the Arcturians, and that is because they carry the same physical body type and the same energy as these entities. They are not the Arcturian race that is connected to you. They are one variant of the Arcturian prototype, but they are not Arcturians themselves. The Arcturians themselves are perceived slightly different. They are having much smaller eyes than the large ones that you are seeing in this area, and they are of a dark blue nature. And this can be confused as black many times because of the depth of blue in which they are. But the Arcturian energy is a much older energy and a much more advanced energy in the way of technology, in the way of spiritual advancement, in the Earth's perspective of what advanced is or is not. These entities specifically carry a foreign name. The energies that we perceive are giving us different names than some of the galactic historical names that have been given to these entities. We have not come into communication with them in the most direct manner as we have the Arcturian race, but most of them are known as Krynon or Cocterians.
Oh wow, I've never heard of that. Thank you. I'm
Yes.
definitely going to research.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.